Hey, what's up guys? We're here in Jupiter and we're about to do a winter planting. So all week long we've been prepping gardens just like this that are kind of done for summer season, you know. We're in that in-between period where we're getting rid of all the old and planting new. So today we're gonna do that here, and we're probably gonna leave that sweet potato bed because they take a little bit longer. Depending on when we plant it, I'm gonna go and check in HubSpot, see when we planted. But that will stay, and then this we're gonna remove, and we're gonna top it off with compost, amend it with some nutrients, some organic fertilizers, and then we're gonna plant. And I think today he wants cherry tomatoes, bok choy, and arugula. So I'm gonna show you how we do it, and let's get started. The idea is to really get rid of the dead because there's a lot of pests and stuff in Florida that stick around and hang out in like the dead leaves and the wet leaves. So you wanna like go compost that, get it out of the garden. Yeah, so we're gonna get rid of some of these marigolds, but I'm gonna leave this one right on the edge because it's not taking any space from anything, you know, and then it provides really good habitat for really good bugs we want in our garden. So we go heavy with the compost, as you can see, because mainly it drowns out the nematodes that are a big issue in Florida. And if you use a lot of organic matter, like really, really rich compost, it keeps them away for the season. And not only that, this really, really good soil is like important for your plants to grow and thrive all season. You need to feed your garden, like the soil in the garden again after each season, because we deplete it every time we grow crops. You know, the crops take it all up, and then we remove all the crops right now, and we're gonna go compost it and make more soil, but the area we just planted in, we gotta add this rich compost. Now that it's all topped off, it's time to fertilize. We use two of them. One of them is pelleted chicken manure. It's certified organic, it works great. That's the nitrogen source. So that's what helps it really all grow and take off. And then we have this, which is azomite, which is A to Z of minerals in the earth. And what that is calcium, iron, all these really good minerals in this rock that's really nutrient rich. And we spread it in the garden, and then it's like a slow release nutrient amendment that the plants uptake, and they need this as well to grow. So now that we've amended, it's really good to mix it in with a shovel. And you know, if you leave this out just on the plants like that, they're gonna maybe burn the plants. So you wanna mix it up and kind of fluffen it up and aerate the soil. The one thing we don't wanna do is do this all the time throughout the year, because there's a whole network community of microbes down there that are all connected to the roots and all like underneath the soil that's living, and it's kind of like a forest floor where they're all helping each other out, and they're eating each other and pooping each other out, and that's really important for our soil health. So we don't want to mess that up too much, but we're going to do that right now so we really get a good start for the season. Cool, so now the soil's all prepped and we can plant. We have bok choy, arugula that we're going to be seeding, and tomatoes over here on the north side. The reason I did that is because the tomatoes get really, really big and tall by the end of the season. So if we put them over here on the south side, down here in Florida, in the winter, the sun goes to the south and it goes kind of like really low in the sky. So if there are tall plants here, it's gonna kind of shade the rest of the garden, which we don't want. So that's why I put it on the north side. Then you can kind of like tear it down if you want, you know? But that's the main thing. Like tomatoes or cucumbers, something big, put on the north side. You wanna make sure you space out your plants properly as well. So bok choy, they want about like 12 inches. You can get away with like 9 inches. But every plant's different. So you wanna refer to like your plant spacing chart to make sure that everything's spaced out properly. It is September, so we don't have all our crops. I think he wants broccoli and a couple other things. Those are cooler weather crops, so they're not really ready until it cools down a bit. As you can see, I'm sweating out here. Okay, so you want to plant these plants right next to the emitters, like right where the water comes out of the tubing. And we're going to test the water too to make sure it works. But if it's literally like a couple inches off, it might not make it. So you want to plant it right there because in Florida it's so hot and extreme. So anyways, let's get planting. These are a little dry, so I'm actually going to water them in a little bit. So I'm gonna water them in as we plant. This is kind of farming technique for people who don't have a ton of irrigation. You water it in the hole when you plant. And make sure this, like, the leaves are like kind of pointing upright. So tomatoes are different. You want to plant them really deep. So what I mean by that is you prune these leaves, the bottom like half of the plant, okay? And you get rid of these leaves because a lot of these leaves create disease throughout the season. So every time you prune tomatoes, you want to, get it into your compost. And then we're gonna literally bury it super deep. Check it out. So whenever we're out in the field, we have our seed bin. And you want to keep this out of the rain, out the sun. This is the holy grail. We're gonna put it over there. We got our arugula seeds. So arugula is one of the ones we do from seed. There's like a handful of ones we do, like green beans, radish, carrots, beets, and salad greens, basically. And the rest are transplants, like kale, peppers, tomatoes, because you get an early jump, and they're happier that way. This will be ready in 25 to 30 days from seed, ready to harvest. So we're gonna get to it. I kind of form my rows first. So again, right up against the drip lines, right? And then you just drop them in. About that much, like 4 or 5 an inch, something like that. And then we could come in and thin it out if it's really hairy. But we usually let it come up, and then when they're short and super perfect to harvest, we'll go in there and cut them like an inch above the soil. And it will come right back in a week or 2, depending on the time of year. We're gonna put this back with our seeds, of course. And all we're gonna do is you wanna just barely cover it with soil. So just barely. I was showing Bo earlier, like you almost want to like fake it. It's that shallow. And then it'll rain on this, and in less than a week, these should all pop and germinate, go from seed to plant. So we're gonna water this in, and that's how you transition your garden for winter. We'll see you next time.